Before we go on, take a look. Flamengo still has a great chance of becoming the Brazilian champion, according to FMG. Gato Mestre, right? He gave Palmeiras a 70% chance and everything. That's why I don't like to take that into consideration, because I think Flamengo has dropped a lot. Flamengo is doing really badly. Flamengo is playing really badly, right? So I don't really believe in that, but we do have the probability of Flamengo winning the trophy. It increased from 65 to 44 due to fewer games now. So Flamengo's chances increase, even with the loss to Fluminense, okay? Flamengo's chances increase, even with the loss to Fluminense, 65-44. It went up to 69-71, practically a 70% chance for Flamengo to be champions. Palmeiras only drew with Vitória at Allianz Parque, and the probability dropped from 33.39 to 27.87. So Flamengo right now has practically a 70% chance, and Palmeiras has practically 28%, okay? And then we also have in this equation Cruzeiro, which no longer appears here in Gato Mestre, is already out of these percentages from Gato Mestre. Even more so after stumbling against Juventude. But if we talk about Federal University of Minas Gerais, Cruzeiro appears with just over 3% chance there. Flamengo also 67%, Palmeiras just over 20%. Flamengo is at 65%, 60-10%, according to Federal University of Minas Gerais and Gato Mestre. And Palmeiras is just above 20%, Cruzeiro, with very low chances, especially after another setback. So do you agree with these title chances they're showing? Honestly, I don't really think math goes well with football predictions, because you have to take into consideration that Flamengo's team in the first half has been having disastrous first halves, right? What do you guys think? Yeah, man, Flamengo released a statement against the Brazilian Football Confederation, huh? The situation was calmer between Flamengo and the Brazilian Football Confederation. Peace no longer reigns between Flamengo and the Brazilian Football Confederation. Also, with the uncalled penalty against Fluminense, that was kind of weird. It outraged Flamengo's directors and the entire football department. A blatant penalty. Even the tricolores were saying it was a penalty. Yeah, just yesterday, Jose Allan on Placa said it was a penalty and at least a yellow card. So that outraged everyone. We show up like this. Hey, everyone, red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to Paparazzo Rubro Negro. If you're just arriving, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below. Turn on notifications and the bell, and leave that awesome like on the video. And I also want to take this opportunity to let you know that today we have a special discount for those who still want to go to Lima. You can get in touch with the people from Harolo's Caravan. There are special deals that came up for flights and everything else. Just find them and they'll give you all the info. This is a decisive week for Flamengo and Palmeiras. Flamengo needs a win against Bragantino. Palmeiras faces Fluminense, who are coming off that win over Flamengo and need to win. They must win to compete with Botafogo for a G4 or G5 spot. Fluminense really needs this. Fluminense needs to earn points against Palmeiras if they want to avoid the Libertadores qualifiers. They need points. I'll stick with it, right? Flamengo messed up my little bet, but I'm going to stick with my tip. Flamengo to beat Bragantino and a draw between Fluminense and Palmeiras. We're going to get back to our thing. Our lead could even increase to 4 points. So Palmeiras to draw with Fluminense and Flamengo to beat Bragantino. It's going to be tough and complicated for sure. We had Bruno Henrique undergoing imaging tests. It was scary. Yesterday I was worried all day until the news came out that it was nothing. I was really scared knowing early on that Bruno Henrique would have imaging tests. I didn't even want to tell you guys, so you wouldn't worry. I was really worried about it. I told people, if this is all that's left, we've lost Bruno Henrique. Thankfully, it was nothing. It was worrying because he felt pain and everything, and it was worrying. We have important transfer market situations here. But I'm going to start here by talking about a situation that Flamengo is very sure about. Look, guys, Flamengo released an official statement, and we're going to bring it to you now. Let's go. Flamengo released this official statement here because of the uncalled penalty on Bruno Henrique against Fluminense. Quote, Flamengo expresses outrage at yet another absurd and serious mistake by video assistant referee under the responsibility of Mr. Wagner Huey in the derby against Fluminense. So Flamengo is condemning Mr. Wagner Huey. I told you to watch him. He'll find a way to mess with Flamengo. He always harms Flamengo. The play involving Bruno Henrique and Thiago Silva, ignored by the video referee, clearly breaks protocol. And it made the news in Brazil and abroad, once again tarnishing the image of Brazilian soccer. Yeah, it's not the first time mistakes like this have happened against Flamengo when Huey is in the booth, which makes the situation even worse. The audio released by the Brazilian Football Confederation makes it clear that Davi Oliveira Lacerda, the on-field referee who managed the match well, was harmed by his colleague. Flamengo acknowledges the recent efforts by the Brazilian Football Confederation to improve the quality of Brazilian refereeing and believes that with some adjustments, the results will get better and better. So Flamengo is complaining about the Brazilian Football Confederation, complaining about this absurd situation. Then the rival fans are trying to create a narrative. Oh, how ridiculous. Flamengo complaining about refereeing. Palmeiras is the most helped, 16 points because of the refereeing. You can't create this ridiculous narrative. And I'll say more, this Wagner Huey always harms Flamengo, always. And there was another penalty on Cebolinha, which I even mentioned yesterday. But two very clear penalties, right? And Bruno Henriquez wasn't called. And the Brazilian Football Confederation, to top it off, declared that they won't punish the referee, Davi Lacerda, because they believe it was an interpretative play. This way, the referee won't be punished. The referee on the field interpreted it differently and thought it wasn't. He didn't understand what a penalty was, but video assistant referee has all the tools to say it was a penalty. Video assistant referee could have called? Yes. Video assistant referee saw it. They were there watching. Look, Flazuero brought some information together with Flabase that Brentford from England showed interest in signing defender Iago, who is a standout player for Flamengo's under-20 team and is considering making an offer in the next transfer window. The player is 20 years old, is in his last season in the youth category, and has a contract with Flamengo until the end of 2026. He would still have to renew next year, and so on. As far as I know, it's in the player's interest to do whatever needs to be done with Flamengo, renew, because we had the case of Clayton who didn't renew. Some other players aren't interested in renewing, but Iago, as far as I know, is interested in renewing. But the player's staff is bringing in offers, and Brentford from England has shown interest in signing the defender. Now, the problem at Flamengo is that there are too many defenders, too many players, and not enough opportunities. Now, João Vitor had this opportunity. He's not doing well. Flamengo is trying to shield the player, but it's not working. He hasn't managed to. How can I put it? He felt the weight of the jersey, right? He felt the weight of the jersey. That's the reality. And Flamengo is showing itself to be more and more dependent on Leo Ortiz. We can see it from Leo Ortiz's numbers, right? Flamengo, with Leo Ortiz in 26 matches allowed, just 12 goals in 10 games. 7 matches now, 10 goals that Flamengo conceded without him, 10 goals in 7 matches without Leo Ortiz. I mentioned this to you yesterday. Flamengo completely relies on Leo Pereira, Leo Ortiz, and Danilo. But there are defenders in the youth academy, right? Looking for a spot, Clayton is leaving. Now João Vitor feels the pressure. Even though Flamengo is worried about protecting the kid, trying to shield the boy after everything that happened, right? Be careful, big guy, so he doesn't get burned. He's already gotten a bit scratched up, right? Many fans are complaining about João Vitor normal, but that's Flamengo. This pressure is normal. Let's discuss the transfer market too. We discussed Iago and Flamengo's loan. Cancora faces a big challenge delivering news. But with Flamengo, updates come from everywhere. So that's the issue. I had a lot of analysis because of the instruction being clear. Allan, Everton, Cebolinha, and Bruno Henrique. It may seem like it, right? But you have to admit that any progress depends on Flamengo and involves different levels of difficulty. Allan, who played for Galo before joining the Red Black, couldn't secure a starting spot due to injuries. He's seen as the top candidate for negotiation, despite being under contract until 2027. Cebolinha, contracted until 2026 and improving under Felipe Luis, is considered important and unlikely to be released. Bruno Henrique's situation is the most complicated, right? He's a key starter and a fundamental part of the offensive system. The forward is under contract until 2026 and isn't expected to leave Flamengo at this moment, okay? Fans always talk. Allan and BH can handle it. Say that again after the Libertadores final. Buddy, Leon, he's an anesthesiologist, right? Leo, Allan, and BH can manage. Mention it after the final. Bro, okay, guys, is Bruno Henrique kidding? Yeah. Then he says, what soccer is Bruno Henrique playing? He's just dragging himself. He was having a problem. He was having that mental issue, you know, that problem was affecting him, man. The thing about the lawsuit, last game, you know, honestly, most of the team didn't play well against Fluminense. I think BH deserves some credit. At least I do, man. That's what I think, right? If you disagree, I respect that. But people say you can take Plata too. Kawe, and Matthews, they don't have money. That's the issue. Yet they bring this news. Take Allan, La Cruz, Royal, and Roms Ferreira sending them, right? The fans will help pay for his ticket if Atletico doesn't have money. Alison Ferreira, I don't know who he means. He said it. The name is Eduardo Matos. You can take Allan, Royal, and Lino. It's Lino, but he's going to have to pay well. Didn't Flamengo spend a lot on Samuel Lino? Yeah, they really have to pay very well. Flamengo spent a lot of money signing Samuel Lino. Yeah, we have something here to talk to you about Pedro, right? The newspaper O Globo reported that Flamengo is still looking for a way to have Pedro in the Libertadores final. The club doesn't rule out his participation, even if it means making a sacrifice, against Palmeiras, but the timeline is very tight. So yeah, it's not just Coach Felipe Luis. Flamengo's medical and football management are not confirming forward Pedro's absence from the Libertadores final. According to sources who spoke to the blog, the treatment that was started immediately with the player after the injury to the femoral muscle in his left thigh was detected gives a slight hope. The time frame is tight for this kind of problem, but the management and the doctors intend to try to get a response from Pedro, who typically recovers faster than expected due to his profile. The medical protocol sets a 10-day limit before the Libertadores final for simpler cases. Since the injury is more complicated, the forward would have to play through the pain. Flamengo will wait a few days to see Pedro's progress before deciding on his trip. Lima says they'll take him and not remove him. And then it'll remain a mystery, okay? The club sees the possibility of him going with the group. That's already settled. He's going with the group now. The whole issue is whether Flamengo can get him ready so he can play. The intention is there, right? It's real, I knew that. Flamengo hopes that Pedro can get on the field, really. Even if it's a sacrifice, the main issue is the location, right? Where did he get injured? Playing through an injury is a very important area for the athlete's body, you know? For strength and everything else. If it's bad there, I think all the movements go through there, right? Even if there's only a 1% chance, I have full faith. Let's go. I hope it works out, since Pedro would be important. What do you think? Comment if you watched the whole video. Do you still believe Pedro can play in the Libertadores final? Flamengo's football department thinks there's still time and he can play, even if it's tough. What do you think? Comment below. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. Red and black greetings from Flamengo. Thanks, everyone. Big hug. I'm out.